Section 1. The Earth tilts, and chaos begins. The sun was setting over New York City, casting a golden hue over the skyline, when the anomaly began. Birds that were once gliding smoothly through the air suddenly plummeted to the ground, squawking in confusion. In parks, children's kites looped erratically before diving into bushes. Across the globe, the phenomenon repeated. Oceans swelled as if pulled by unseen hands, skyscrapers groaned, and satellites orbiting Earth wobbled in alarming trajectories. Dr. Elena Marquez, a brilliant but underfunded physicist working out of her cluttered garage in Seattle, was the first to notice something truly strange. Her makeshift gravity field sensors, rigged from spare lab equipment and duct tape, began to scream in protest. Gravity on Earth was fluctuating in unpredictable ways. Elena stared at her screen, sipping a lukewarm coffee. She muttered to herself, either I've broken physics, or something's messing with our planet. Her dog, Baxter, barked at the sensors as if in agreement. Meanwhile, on the other side of the country, Nathan Grant, a former astronaut turned emergency consultant, was wrestling with a peculiar briefing. The Pentagon's top brass had intercepted strange signals near Earth's orbit, ones that didn't correspond to any known technology. Nathan, a skeptic by nature, raised an eyebrow as the general explained. So, you're saying aliens might be causing this? Nathan asked, leaning back in his chair. The general grimaced. We're not ruling anything out. What we do know is that something's destabilizing our planet's gravitational field, and it started about 24 hours ago. Suddenly, the meeting was interrupted by a live feed from the International Space Station. The astronauts on board reported witnessing an enormous, shimmering spacecraft hovering just beyond the moon's shadow. Its surface pulsed like a living organism, radiating light in mesmerizing patterns. Elena, tuning in from her small screen, gasped as the live footage flickered onto the news. It's real, she whispered. This isn't just a theory anymore. The aliens' plan. From their ship, the alien invaders, the Crawl, observed Earth with a mixture of fascination and disdain. Their leader, a creature named Vixarin, addressed his council in a guttural language, translated by their advanced AI systems. This primitive world, Vixarin sneered, relies entirely on its gravitational stability. If we disrupt it, they will fall into chaos without us needing to fire a single weapon. The Crawl's plan was simply yet devastating. Deploy a massive gravitational distortion device, an artificial singularity generator, to render Earth's gravity unreliable. Oceans would overflow, tectonic plates would shift, and humanity would collapse under the chaos. But the Crawl underestimated humanity's resilience and Earth's unique quirks. A chaotic morning. The next morning, gravity on Earth turned bizarre. People found themselves floating for brief moments before being slammed back down. Water floated in midair only to crash in waves. Cars tumbled unpredictably, and airplanes were grounded, unable to manage the erratic pull of gravity. Elena received a frantic call from Nathan, whom she hadn't spoken to in years. They had once been colleagues during her short stint at NASA before she left to pursue theoretical research. Elena, Nathan said, his voice taut with urgency, I need your expertise. The Pentagon thinks you might know something about this gravitational mess. Of course they do, now that the world's falling apart, Elena shot back, grabbing her backpack and cramming it with equipment. Send me the data. Within an hour, Elena was on a military transport plane, her mind racing. If she was right, the gravity anomalies weren't just random, they were a deliberate attack. But why? Humanity's first encounter. As Elena worked to decode the signals from the alien ship, Nathan coordinated efforts on the ground. Cities were in chaos, but humanity's ingenuity shone through. In Tokyo, engineers tethered floating skyscrapers to the ground with reinforced steel cables. Farmers in Kansas devised ways to irrigate crops despite water drifting off the land. That evening, the first attempt at communication with the Crawl was broadcast worldwide. Using a powerful laser transmitter, the UN sent a message to the alien ship. We are the inhabitants of Earth. We seek peace. Please tell us your intentions. The response came almost instantly, booming across the airwaves. The voice was deep, otherworldly, and unyielding. Earth belongs to the Crawl. Surrender, or face obliteration. Elena frowned as she analyzed the message. "They're using gravity as a weapon because they think it's our Achilles heel," she muttered. "But they've underestimated us." The plan takes shape. The hook was in place. Humanity's survival depended on understanding this alien threat and turning their own weapon against them. Elena and Nathan, once estranged, found themselves working together again. "We need to outthink them," Nathan said as they reviewed data on the alien technology. "If we can stabilize Earth's gravity long enough, we might have a shot at disabling their singularity generator." Elena's eyes lit up. "There's a way. It's risky, but if we amplify Earth's natural gravitational field, we could create a counterwave. But we'll need to get close to their ship to do it." "Define close?" Nathan asked warily. "Close enough to make them notice," Elena replied with a smirk. With time running out, the stakes were clear. Humanity's survival depended on a desperate gambit that would either save the planet or doom it entirely. Section 2. Escalation of Chaos. The skies were tinged with an unnatural hue, as though Earth's atmosphere itself was warping under the strain of the alien assault. Gravity surged and ebbed like an unpredictable tide, creating pockets of chaos across the globe. From free-floating debris to vehicles crushing under sudden weight, Earth had become a planet teetering on the edge of collapse. Elena and Nathan, now leading a small team of scientists and engineers at a makeshift command center deep within Cheyenne Mountain, worked feverishly. Screens flickered with chaotic data streams from satellites, seismic monitors, and the International Space Station. Every second counted. Nathan placed a hand on his temple, groaning. "These fluctuations are so erratic they make no sense. How do we counteract something we barely understand?" Elena didn't look up from her laptop, her fingers flying across the keyboard. "They're not random. It's like they're calibrating their singularity generator, testing the limits of our planet's resistance. Once they perfect it, they'll unleash the full force." Nathan frowned. "So they're just warming up?" "Exactly. Chaos reigns." The Krall's singularity generator, a device capable of creating artificial gravitational fields, was wreaking havoc with increasing intensity. Entire coastal cities were flooding as the gravitational pull disrupted ocean currents, sending tsunamis hurtling inland. In a desperate attempt to protect New York City, the military deployed massive barricades and evacuation plans. Yet, even these efforts were futile against the unpredictable gravitational surges. One moment, people struggled to stay grounded, clutching lampposts and railings. The next, they collapsed under unbearable weight. News anchors struggled to convey the gravity of the situation, literally. A reporter in Los Angeles, floating midair with their microphone, joked nervously, "It's like we're in a sci-fi movie, folks. Someone call the Avengers." The humor broke tension momentarily but quickly turned to fear as nearby buildings crumbled. A breakthrough. Amid the chaos, Elena had an epiphany. She slammed her hands on the table, startling Nathan. "I know what they're doing," she exclaimed. "Their singularity generator is tethered to Earth's gravitational field like a parasite. They're amplifying their own gravity waves by using ours as a baseline." Nathan raised an eyebrow. "And this helps us how?" "If we can interrupt that tether, we might destabilize their generator." "Think of it like pulling the rug out from under them," Elena said, pacing. "But how do we pull the rug when their ship is hovering millions of miles above us?" Elena grinned. "We don't need to reach them. We just need to amplify a countersignal strong enough to disrupt their calibration. The strongest natural source of gravity we have is Earth's core. If we can redirect its waves—" Nathan cut her off. "That's insane. You're talking about tampering with the planet's core. What if you make things worse? Do you have a better idea?" Elena shot back. "Mounting the resistance." Nathan rallied his contacts in the military, while Elena worked with engineers to retrofit the existing HARP, High-Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, facilities in Alaska. The plan was bold: use the HARP's massive antenna rays to amplify Earth's natural gravitational frequencies, creating a counterwave powerful enough to disrupt the Krall's device. As they prepared, Nathan gave a speech to the team gathered in the cold Alaskan wilderness. His voice was steady, yet carried the weight of the stakes. "This isn't just about fighting back. It's about showing them who we are. We're humans, resilient, stubborn, and willing to risk everything to protect what's ours. We didn't come this far to let some aliens take it away. The team cheered, their spirits lifted by his words. Testing the plan. The HARP facility buzzed with activity. Engineers calibrated frequencies while Elena triple-checked calculations. Nathan oversaw the operation, barking orders to ensure precision. As the first test began, a low hum filled the air, growing louder until it resonated through the Earth itself. The ground vibrated, and for a brief moment, the gravitational surges eased. "It's working!" Elena shouted over the noise. But the relief was short-lived. The crawl ship reacted almost immediately, intensifying the gravity waves in retaliation. The HARP facility trembled, equipment sparking under the strain. Nathan grabbed Elena's arm. "If we keep this up, we're going to fry the system. We have to push through." Elena yelled, refusing to stop. "This is our only shot." The crawl fight back. In orbit, the crawl detected the counterwave. Vixarin growled, his luminous eyes narrowing. "The humans are cleverer than we anticipated," he said, his voice a low snarl. "They're interfering with our systems. Deploy countermeasures immediately." On Earth, the retaliation was felt almost instantly. The gravitational fluctuations grew erratic, shaking the HARP facility violently. Nathan's team scrambled to stabilize the equipment, but it was clear the crawl weren't going to make it easy. Elena's determination only grew. She typed furiously, reconfiguring the system to handle the increased strain. "We can't let them win," she muttered under her breath. Cliffhanger. As the counterwave reached its peak, the HARP facility's main generator began to overheat. Alarms blared, warning of imminent failure. Nathan shouted into his radio, calling for a full evacuation, but Elena refused to leave her station. "We're so close," she yelled, sweat streaming down her face. Nathan rushed to her side. "Elena, if this thing blows, we're done for." The building trembled as equipment sparked around them. Outside, the sky darkened unnaturally, a sign that the gravitational forces were reaching a critical point. Elena looked at Nathan with steely resolve. "Trust me." Just a few more seconds. The screen before them displayed a real-time graph of the counterwave. The line was climbing, nearing the point where it could destabilize the crawl's generator. But would it be enough? Section 3, the climactic confrontation. The HARP facility was teetering on the edge of collapse, its massive antenna arrays sparking under the relentless strain of amplifying Earth's gravitational frequencies. Outside, the winds howled unnaturally as the atmosphere rippled with the effects of the escalating battle between Earth's counterwave and the crawl's singularity generator. Elena's fingers flew over the keyboard, sweat dripping from her brow. The entire facility hummed with an intensity that bordered on catastrophic. Nathan paced behind her, barking commands to the team. Every second felt like an eternity, the stakes higher than they'd ever faced. "We're almost at the frequency threshold," Elena shouted. "If we hold this wave a little longer, we can destabilize their system." Nathan looked at her skeptically. "And if we overshoot?" "The Earth's core might ripple uncontrollably," Elena admitted, her voice grim. "But do we have a choice?" The crawl unleashed their fury. Above the Earth, the crawl's colossal mothership shuddered under the strain of the counterwave. Vixarin, the alien commander, observed the data streams on his console with mounting frustration. "They're pushing back harder than expected," one of his subordinates hissed. Vixarin slammed his clawed hand on the console. "Humans. Always defiant." He turned to another officer. "Deploy the planetary stabilizers. Crush their feeble resistance before they undo everything." As the stabilizers activated, the crawl's singularity generator unleashed an unprecedented surge of gravitational force. Across Earth, the effects were catastrophic. Massive tidal waves consumed coastal cities, mountains crumbled into valleys, and the sky itself seemed to distort. Inside the HARP facility, the ground trembled violently, sending team members stumbling. A massive crack split one of the control panels, and the air reeked of burning circuits. Nathan grabbed Elena's shoulder. "We've got to shut this down. We're out of time." "No!" Elena snapped, her eyes blazing with determination. This is what they want, for us to give up. If we stop now, they win. Trust me, Nathan. A desperate maneuver. Elena's calculations revealed a glimmer of hope, a narrow window to push the counterwave to its absolute limit, targeting a specific frequency that could disrupt the singularity generator's core. But it came with a cost. We're going to overload the system, Elena said, her voice steady despite the chaos. If this works, the facility will go down. But so will their generator. Nathan hesitated, his jaw clenched. You're talking about blowing up our last line of defense. It's either that or let them turn Earth into their playground, Elena countered. Nathan nodded reluctantly. Do it. The team scrambled to reroute power, every monitor in the room flashing red with critical warnings. As the counterwave surged to its peak, the air inside the facility grew heavy, crackling with energy. On the brink of collapse. Meanwhile, the Crawl mothership began to buckle under the strain of the amplified counterwave. Inside the ship, alarms blared, and Vixarin's confident demeanor began to crack. The singularity generator is destabilizing, an officer cried out. Vixarin snarled. Stabilize it, now! It's too late! The ship's core, tethered to Earth's gravitational field, began to unravel. Gravitational distortions rippled through the mothership, causing it to fragment. The Crawl's technology, so advanced it defied comprehension, was now turning against them. Sacrifices and courage. Back on Earth, the HARP facility reached its breaking point. Sparks flew, and a deafening roar filled the air as the main generator exploded. The team rushed to evacuate, but Elena stayed at her console, typing furiously. Elena, we've got to go! Nathan yelled, pulling at her arm. Just a few more seconds, she insisted. The final command executed, the counterwave surged one last time, a blinding pulse of energy radiating outward. Elena and Nathan barely made it out as the facility collapsed in a fiery explosion behind them. The Crawl's downfall. In orbit, the Crawl mothership disintegrated in a spectacular display of light and debris. Without the singularity generator, their fleet was crippled, unable to maintain stability in Earth's atmosphere. Smaller ships veered off course, crashing into the planet's surface or burning up in re-entry. Vixarin, witnessing the destruction, let out a guttural roar of frustration. How could they? His words were cut off as his ship's bridge imploded under the crushing weight of Earth's unrelenting gravity. A moment of victory. As the skies cleared and the gravitational chaos subsided, humanity emerged from the ruins to witness their triumph. Across the globe, people cheered, their cries of victory echoing in streets, shelters, and military bases. Elena and Nathan stood atop a hill overlooking the smoldering remains of the HARP facility. Exhausted but alive, they shared a look of relief. We did it, Nathan said, his voice filled with awe. Elena managed a tired smile. For now. But they'll be back. Nathan shrugged. Let them. We'll be ready. As the sun broke through the clouds, casting a warm glow over the battered Earth, the two heroes knew one thing for certain: humanity's resilience was its greatest weapon.